Hey guys, this is Gabby Sewing, and for those that don't know me, I teach US history here at Manor Senior High School. And I wanted to share with you guys some technology that I found has been particularly useful reaching our English learners, especially during this time of hybrid teaching. Good tech makes our lives easier, so my hope is that these strategies will help you keep things simple. That's for both you and for your students who are pretty overwhelmed right now, and to increase the amount of support we can give our students, even those who are remotely and are maybe struggling to even attend Zoom. All right, I'm going to walk you through most of these tools, and I want to start with my personal favorite, and that is video lessons. So the purpose of video lessons is to take your direct instruction, whatever you would give live in front of students at the front of the room where they would be taking notes, take that part of your lesson and turn it into a video. And there's a lot of benefits to this. I've done this for a few years now, and students have given me a lot of positive feedback that they prefer the video to the live lesson, and they also learn more from it. The second benefit is that YouTube has a closed captions feature, which will automatically translate your voice into captions in the student's home language, of course, giving them some language support, and you didn't have to do anything to do it. Videos also let students pause and rewind you as needed, which is super helpful for me because I tend to talk fast and sometimes leave those slower note takers behind. You want to keep this short. Videos are best when they are about 6 minutes or less. There are a ton of screencasting free softwares out there. My personal favorite, what I'm using right now, is called Explain Everything. But if you want something a little bit simpler, Loom and Screencastify are also great, and they have free versions. If you want to know how to enable this YouTube captioning thing that I'm talking about, I have a link for you here. You can check that out. Next up is Microsoft Translator and PowerPoint Live. And these are both pretty similar tools that actually help you translate your words while on Zoom and then translate what you're saying into the student's home language on their own device, which is pretty cool. I personally prefer Microsoft Translator because if you have multiple students in your class that speak different languages, they can each get that language support on their own personal device. Now, of course, they would need a phone or an iPad to make this happen. PowerPoint Live is pretty cool too. It does this directly on the screen, so it takes that barrier away of needing a second device. However, it only supports translating in one language at a time. Now, I'm sure most of you are pretty familiar with Google Translate. We know it's not a perfect system, but for written directions, it is available to you. And I highly recommend adding a button to your actual assignments, to your Google Doc or your Google Slide, whatever you're having students work on, that students can click on to translate. Sometimes we have the translated directions on a link and it kind of gets buried in all of the directions. So using something like this, it's big and bold. It lets them know, hey, if I need to translate some writing here, I can go ahead and do that. Another tech tool I have been really dependent on this year is called Immersive Reader. And Immersive Reader is part of some other systems you might know, like Nearpod, Pear Deck, and Microsoft Suite. And what it does is really honestly a number of things. It provides a lot of scaffolding to reading. So, for example, it will read the text that you have aloud, either in English or a host of other languages. It also translates the written text and adjusts readability, really helpful for students who are dyslexic or just need to focus on smaller amounts of text at a time. And it also has like this dictionary where you kind of hover your mouse over a word and actually gives you a visual for what that word is. So it does a whole lot. It's kind of hard to summarize, but I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you use Nearpod, if you use Pear Deck. Like, get your kids used to clicking on this button that shows that there is immersive reader functions on that device. And to wrap up, we know it's really important to have those visuals and manipulatives for students. And even though most of our students are not in the classroom, there's a lot of ways to replicate this digitally. I'm a big fan of Google Slides. It allows students to edit your slides and move things around and write on the document, rearrange things, categorize, do all those things that you might have them do in the classroom. with paper. And I gave a couple examples of ways that we can use Google Slides in creative ways. I'm also a huge fan of this website called Genially. I think I'm saying that right. Um, you can do a million things on Genially. I will caution you, if you are not tech savvy, this is not the thing for you. Maybe aspire to do this in the future. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but once you figure out Genially, you can create anything from presentations to escape rooms to interactive images and timelines and a bunch more. So I have some examples here that you also might be interested in checking out. And finally is the Google Chrome add-on called Mote, which is a really cool tool that allows you to leave some voice feedback for your students in any of the Google products, Classroom, Docs, Sheets, that kind of thing. The paid version actually allows you to also create translations of your voice note, which is pretty cool. But the free version still allows you to leave those personal messages to students. Well, guys, that is it from me. If y'all have any questions or want to talk more about any of the pieces of technology or any of the strategies we talked about in the video, feel free to shoot me an email, gabrielle.sewing@mannerisd.net. If you can't tell, I'm a giant nerd and I love talking anything about technology and education and how we can support our English learners. So hope to hear from y'all, and thanks for listening.